Hey everyone, welcome back to the Broke Coder. In this video, we'll be covering what Python environments are, how do we set them up, what do they even mean, and we'll also be covering how to use pip, what it is, and how can you properly use it so that your projects end up good. So let's get started. Now, sometimes people have a misconception that when they're setting up Python, they do this. Doing this is not a misconception. They have a misconception about what they do. They go into advanced system settings and environment variables, and they add the Python path here. Now, this might not be the case for everyone, but for those who have done it, you know. And they sometimes end up confusing themselves, especially beginners, that this was what everyone refers to as Python environment creation. It's not. Python environment is a separate thing. Now, before we go on to what Python environments really are, it would be a better thing if we first saw what pip was. Now, pip is a thing that you'll be using a lot more when you go into Python, and what it stands for is package installer for Python, or you can just remove the for as well, package installer Python, or package for Python, whatever flies you okay. Pip is a command that we can run, and if you already have Python installed in your system, and if you just run pip, it should give you this. It gives you a list of all the commands that you can run with pip. Pip actually helps you with installing different packages or libraries or whatever you want from the internet. Usually people write code, say even I can write some code that I think might be helpful to tons of people. I can put it up on the Python website. I can ask them to put it up, and after looking through it, after giving a thought that okay, is this needed, is this good, they'll put it up, and anyone will be able to download my package with whatever name I put it. And one of the basic, and pip is super easy to use. You don't have to worry too much about that. All you have to do is say, if you want to install a package, say pip install and just say the name of that package. Let's say if that package is something called NumPy. NumPy is a package that's used in data science, or say it's a package called requests. I don't know why anyone would say that, because requests comes pre-installed with Python, but you get the point. We can use these commands to install libraries that Python does not come pre-installed with. Some of the other commands that you can use are pip list. Now what pip list does is it shows you all of the packages that you have installed in your system that come pre-installed with your Python, as well as the ones that you might have installed later on. Like there's something called OpenCV here, there's pandas, there's Python util, Selenium, Tornado, URL, blah blah blah, other stuff. So that's what pip does. And if you want to uninstall something, you can say pip uninstall, and the package name, whatever package name that you provide, will get uninstalled. Now with that done, you should be having a basic idea of how pip works and what you can use pip for. And what you can also do is show and use pip show. Now it's similar to pip list. Okay, yeah, my bad. If you do pip show and say Pygame, I have a library that with the name Pygame. It shows you the name of Pygame, the name of the library, its version, summary, or where will you find it, the author email, license, etc., etc. This actually helps you sometimes when you want to track down a directory or a library and finding out other stuff. It really just depends on the kind of work that you're doing, and I think that pretty much sums up basic pip for you. There's tons of other commands that you can learn by going to the documentation. I think I'll put a link to that in below, but I don't think that's actually necessary. So once you're done with pip, then we can now go ahead with what environments are. Now say you have a project that you're working on, and the project is huge, like really huge, and what you would want to do is to keep that project separately. You wouldn't want that project to be mixed in with your regular files by just placing its program here, here and there. And you'd also want everything for it to be separated. You'd want its resources to be isolated. You want its data and everything to be separately stored. That same thing can be done with Python as well. So let's just show you an example, and that way it might really strike. Let's just go to desktop here and create a directory, a folder with the name, how about this, super awesome project. Yeah, let's just assume this is some great project. So I get a folder here, it's empty, there's nothing in it right now. And now what we can do is we can go in that folder. I'll say super and just tab all complete. In this project, what I need to do now is I can create a different version of the Python. See, I can have a different entity of that same Python. I have a Python that's default on my system, and whenever I hit Python, I've been brought up with this Python 3.8.0, and I can do stuff in it. But what if I wanted a separate Python just for this, so that whatever I do in this Python will not be affected by this Python and vice versa? So what you need to do is you need to use another module, which is called virtual env. Now this is a module of Python. For that, you'll need to use pip to install virtual env in your system. So for that, you can just hit pip virtual env, sorry, my bad, pip install virtual env, and I already have it installed, so it'll just show that for me. It'll take a time for you to download, that's fine, go ahead and download it. And once that's done, what you can do to create an environment here is first you need to be in the directory where you want the environment folder to be created. So I'm inside this project, and to show you guys, let's just open this up, and I'll make this small, not that small, yeah, and I'll just put it here. How about that? Otherwise, let's just do this. Yeah, now if I write the command to create an environment, which is python space -m space virtual env space, and I have to give the name for the environment, so let's just call it super env. How about that? So if I hit enter now, what it actually does is it goes here and it creates an environment. That's your environment's created. Now how to access that environment would be, you need to be in the directory where the project is. Let's just close this for now. We don't need that for now. The hell, why is this not resizing? Yeah, command prompt's gone crazy. Let's just close this once and begin fresh. Screen's filled up anyway. So now that we have our environment created and we are in the directory where our file is, means where our folder for the environment is, what we need to do to access that is say the environment's name, which was super env / scripts actually / activate. So what that does is it activates the environment, and that's visible by this thing here, this, how do I say, this dialogue, this text that appears here before your prompt. It says super env. That means we're right now in the environment of that, within the environment that we created. We're no longer in a default environment. And even if you try to run Python here, it works because that's an environment we created for Python. And whatever Python it's accessing is the Python that's stored inside here in these scripts and in all of these files. That's the Python that we're using. This is the Python we're using, not the default one anymore. So let's say if I wanted to install a package here and only want that package to be in here. So what I do is I activate the environment so that I'm in the environment, and then what I do is I say pip install, and I'll just install the Seaborn. It's a package that's used basically for making sure, oh yeah, my bad. This package is usually used in, the hell is wrong with me? I should probably go back to, never mind. Yeah, so what this package actually does is it's used when you are working with data structure analysis or data science analysis, for making sure all your graphs look good, whatever graphs you're creating, this and that. So it's going to take some time to download, and once it's downloaded, I'll get back right to you guys. So take a break. Okay guys, and we're back. Apparently, guess what, Seaborn wasn't the smallest and the quickest file that we downloaded, but yeah, we got we finished that. So with Seaborn now installed, if we now type Python and the Python prompt opens up, and if we now search import, if we import Seaborn now, it imports successfully. That means we now have a library, a module in Python that we installed using pip install. And what's more is that it's installed in this environment, in the super env that we created. Now imagine that we get out, and how do you deactivate an environment is, go back to the default, is you just say deactivate, and it does that. You're now no longer in the environment. So if I were now to run Python, and if I now hit import Seaborn, I'll get an error saying that there is no Seaborn, even though we just installed it. Exactly. So why do we get this error? Because the Seaborn that we installed up here was done while we were in the super env, and it's not done. Where did it go? Yeah. And it's no longer available in the default Python version that we have on the system. And one thing you have to remember is, when we create an environment, at that point everything that was available in the default is automatically copied into the new environment that's being created. And once it's created, those two things are separate now. Whatever gets installed on one doesn't affect the other. But when you do install it, everything that was there in the previous environment does get copied back. So that's something to take care of. You need to remember in certain cases that might cause some problems or some issues that you need to take care of. So with that, I think the basics of Python environment creation and pip package installer are pretty much done. Be sure to like and comment, guys, and let me know what else I should be doing next. And see you next time.